Oh shit. Welcome back everybody to another Hollow Knight run. P5 all bindings. My personal best is False Champion. I've been doing some practicing before this video. I've fought False Champion a few times, all bindings Radiant mode. I started on a tune to work myself to 80 or like Radiant. And I managed to beat him once in Radiant. Mostly I took damage from rubble and like the shockwaves. Actually, that's not quite true. That was what I struggled with in the beginning. My ascended runs were all like getting hit by rubble a bunch of times and stuff. But in Radiant, I'm actually just getting hit by him, which is a big issue because that's what deals double damage, and that's what I got at aid. But I found a good strategy. I think I can win if I've got him the like Pantheon here. You know, he's not on Radiant. I can tank a hit, and I do have time to heal whenever he gets staggered and stuff. So overall, I think if I reach him today, I will be able to beat him. Also depends on mindset because he's right after Zote and Markov. You know, it's a very, very scary combo with Markov, Zote, and then False Champion. It's you know, Markov teaches you patience. You gotta make sure you got the fight on your own like rhythm. Make sure you get your hits in whenever you can, but mostly stay on the defensive and make sure you don't get hit by the random bullshit everywhere. And then Zote comes around and he's very fucking aggressive and does a lot of like erratic movement. And you gotta be very reactive. Make sure you're making sure that you're being very observant on everything that's going on. He's spawning numerous like minions or like a trouble. You gotta deal with them quickly, like Collector in a way, before they get out of hand. And gotta get some hits in while you can while he's doing some scary stuff. And you know, he can, because his shtick is that he kind of changes up his move like midway. He like jumps above you and says haha, and he jumps like just flies 5 feet in another direction to throw you off. That's kind of fun. I like the fight. Very Zote, very good fight overall. Very difficult though, but at least you're making you very reactive and making sure you're being very keen on everything. And that's the same thing for False Champion as well. This is like the easy version of the fight. Because in the False Champion version, there's a lot of rubble everywhere, and you like my system I found here is going back here and just dodging these. Like I don't hit him when he does this. I'm like running back and trying to dodge his waves he makes. Oh, he's so slow. I'm not used to this after fighting False Champion so much. And a lot of rubble from this guy. You got to make sure you don't get hit by those while also dodging his like waves, shock waves. And then once he's making these jump attacks, you run in, do a cyclone slash, and blah 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 blah. Anyway, point is, all the 3 fights, Markov, Zote, and False Champion are hard because they are just a lot of chaos. A lot of shit is happening. You gotta make sure you're like great reaction speed, making sure you know what's going on when everything's going on at once, and blah 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 blah. It's hard, but I've found a rhythm in the chaos. I might be able to beat it if I really try. Like if I'm in the proper mind state after beating Zote, if I'm not at like 1 HP and if I've energized up and right, I can probably be False Champion. My issue so far has been that I can't survive this first phase in the Pantheon because I'm just out of it. I'm just in shock. You know, I'm not ready. You know, I need to be more warmed up or something. I don't know. Perhaps I'm too warmed up. I'm just intimidated. Who knows? I'm hoping after practicing against him so much, I will have it in my hands instead of in my mind, because I know what I have to do. I just gotta make sure that I actually do it on like instinct, because once again, the fight is just super fast and stuff. Anyway, that's it for that talk. We'll talk about it again if I get there, probably. But that's some other things I want to talk about. You get off my mind again, perhaps. Do a little bit of yapping. I hope this video can be a long one, so I can just have a lot of stuff to say. Because one of them that is more recent here is I'm playing Pathfinder in the weekend. It's with a group that we haven't played a major campaign in fucking ages. I think it's been over a year since we played the main campaign. And you know, we technically had to play like, I think 4 months ago. We planned a time where we can play it all and everything. And turn out the DM just wasn't ready. He didn't have anything planned at all. Brought the like whole 12 months and stuff. I mean, he's in the military and stuff, so guess he's a bit busy. But 12 months, I didn't buy it. None of us really did. And we just realized that probably just doesn't want to prep for DMing. It shouldn't be a chore for him anyways. Like, if he doesn't want to prep for DMing, we shouldn't, like, make him feel pressured to do so. Like, we can say, like, man, we're so disappointed. Why didn't you prep anything for us? But it's not like that would be a healthy solution. So we just gonna swap DMs and, like, kind of put the campaign on like a halt. Like, we're just pausing it. Now we're playing a new campaign, and with new DM as well. So yeah, I mean, now we're gonna be playing that in the weekend. This will be the first campaign and hopefully a long one. And it seems pretty exciting. My character has a really fun class as a kineticist, basically a waterbender. And my backstory is kind of cool. I love the lore behind my my people and my race and all that stuff. I'm a bit worried about my personality. I don't remember what my plan was for that. I think I'm just really excited about the lore, and I kind of forgot one of the core aspects of a character, the personality, the nitty-gritty of how I act to other people. So I gotta work that out, but I think I have a good option for that. One problem we faced is that we had to, like, find someone who can host. We needed to find a place where we can actually play. And I immediately said, like, yeah, I can host if y'all want. I'll be good. It's just a bit far away from people, so I'll be like, so I just said, yeah, I can, but only if you want to come here. And they're like, yeah, I can, yeah, we can. Everyone was like, sure, we can do that. And except one guy was like, maybe. I was like, huh? Maybe he doesn't want to go this way. I'm like, this guy usually hosts as well. He's a big hoster. So I asked, like, yo, it's not that I want to host. I actually don't like to do it, but I'll do it if it means to I'll just do it as a chore. It's a necessary evil to me. So if you want to host instead, you know, not have to travel all this way, I'd be glad to let you. Which I thought was like, I mean, that's just the truth. I don't like hosting, but I'll gladly do it because, you know, someone has to. Just because I don't like to do it doesn't mean I want to force it on others. But this guy might like it, I guess. And if he doesn't he doesn't want to come here, then it's perfect opportunity to ask, like, hey, do you want to host instead? And he says as a response, like, yeah, don't worry, I can do it. And I was like, sick, great. It's a bit of an undescriptive like message. I guess it's supposed it could be read in a different way. Like, yeah, it's so fine, I can do it. As in, he can travel to my place and while I'm hosting. But I read it in the way that I wanted it to be. You know, I recognized at the time that there were two options for this thing. It really said nothing. It could either be, yeah, I can travel with you, or yeah, I can host, don't worry. And I thought it made more sense for him to say, don't worry, I can host. Because, you know, why would I worry about him, like, coming to my place? That's not something that I mean, yeah, okay, that is the thing that we're worried about. That I didn't like people coming to my place, but okay, it's kind of weird. Point is, I read it as, you know, he's saying, don't worry, I can host. I was like, sick, thank you. And then today, people are asking, like, yo, when do we show up? And I'm like, huh? Are we showing up to this guy's place? And, like, he was like, oh, shit, no, that's not what I meant at all. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of had a feeling, but I was just wishful thinking, I guess. So I guess I'm hosting anyway. And in my defense, it was so easy to read in a different way. No one else did. I know why, because that is the... You would probably have said more if you were to host. But I wanted to believe, you know. Why would he say it this way? Anyway. So where I'm hosting, I gotta tell my roommates. I did tell them once before that, you know, I'm hosting, bro. There's a bunch of people. We'll be stealing the entire living room for 3 days, basically. And they're like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then I came back and said, like, 2 days later, like, yo, sorry guys, I'm not hosting anyway. Not bad. I said it wrong. I was wrong. We don't know hosting anyway. And they're like, okay, cool. And now I have to come back again 2 days later once more and say, actually, I'm hosting anyway, lol. Like, what the fuck, man? It's such a easy task just telling my friends that I can host. I'm planning on host, but I don't really want to. You'll have to watch this video if you want to know. So yeah, that's lore about that, I guess. Jump to my character. I think I mentioned it in an earlier video, but he's a kobold from a mountain range where dragons live. they're generally very primitive, like civilization. The kobolds living in like many different tribes and stuff. They don't really have one kingdom or anything, and you know they don't really have any technology. You know, people in the I'm pretty sure guns exist because one of the other players is an inventor of some kind and can use like gunpowder. But you know that is not a thing in my civilization, like the kobold civilization at all. They call themselves the dragon folk. Actually, that's not the truth. They other people call them the dragon folk. They have names for different tribes and shit. It's like people calling me a European. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's true. But I don't call myself a European. I call myself Danish. And I thought that's like just an interesting little blah blah blah. Anyway, bunch of cool lore with that. I'm not going into it. He's a waterbender because he ate the heart of a previous waterbender, and he plans on finding out where the lightning bender is, and eat his heart in order to become a lightning bender because it's like the most powerful one. And once upon a time, back in his day, very very long time ago, like 1,000 years, maybe not that long, but you know, a long time ago, there were a lightning bender who united the entire dragon folk into one kingdom. And he did so in vague ways that has kind of been lost to time at this point because dragon folk don't write anything down. They are relatively primitive, don't write shit down. They make paintings, make statues and shit. Well, they make art, but they don't write the perfect history. So it's just a lot of glorified portrayals of this lightning king, of him smiting down armies with divine lightning and somehow making weird interconnected cities with lights. In my lore, he's an artificer, but that's like not something that I have a choice over. I don't know anything about lightning except for what my character knows, which is probably all wrong. So you know, my DM can figure out what he wants with that. Anyway, that's all cool and all, but what's my like cool backstory and all that, and like lore for my people, and why I have my powers, but you know, I don't have a personality really. I'm thinking of just playing the mind of a child thing, where I'm just a really naive kid who's going on an adventure to become the ultimate lightning warrior, yeah. Kind of like Naruto with like the Hokage. He wants to become the Hokage so everyone will love him, or like other classic childish things. And so the thing I'm gonna go to like tone a bit more grim, where like in my mind, obviously this won't fucking work. Like what are you talking about? He's just gonna somehow get the power to like a lot of power, I guess, which probably is glorified as well. It's probably not that good considering I'm planning on getting it in campaign. My DM doesn't want me to become overpowered, so I'm just gonna gain some mythical power and then assume that everyone will love me because I'm saying, yeah, okay, he has the power. Sure, he'll become king, I guess, and everyone will love him. All the like the cultural disputes and the reason why we haven't united so far, you know, so they all have a common enemy, the dragon folk. There's the humans are beginning to like invade their mountain range, for a reason that I don't know. I'm kind of guessing it's like our natural resources, because we're like volcanic rocks and stuff like that. It makes sense why we'd have cool iron and steel and shit and the metals, but don't know really. So yeah, the dragon folk have a common enemy, but they still haven't united. They're still fighting against each other for various reasons. Long feuds, old like drama between them, and hatred and differences just makes them not want to cooperate. For some reason, my character thinks that if he just gathers the lightning powers, everything, all of that will change, and they'll all be like, yo, let's go, this guy's sick, and we'll just abandon every like difference between us and say, yeah, no, we all the Lightning King's disciples now. I don't know. Like it's stupid, but it is like a relatively common trope in fiction. I feel like King Arthur with a sword just gets the sword, and everyone would say, yeah, okay, she's king. Like what about the previous kings? What about like the nobility, all the people in power? Why would they allow themselves to be ruled over by a random kid just because he got a sword? It can only really happen in like a political scheme where somehow he gets the army on his side or something. I don't know. That'd be more politics than just I got the MacGuffin. Everyone should like bow down to me now. And I think that's the kind of the way I'm going with my character. That he's got to have some sort of character arc that makes him realize that he's been naive, which means I should really amp up the naivete in the beginning few sessions, like make him a really childish and just assume it'll work out. And then throughout the campaign, maybe he'll fail a bunch of times and realize, oh shit, you know what, actually, maybe this won't work. Or maybe it will work. I don't know. The DM has choice over that, I guess. I'm just assuming it won't, because my logic tells me that it absolutely will fail, but I'm not the DM. He could choose that that's the way his world works, and who am I to judge? Well, I will judge. I won't audibly judge it, though. So yeah, that's just about that. I'm excited to see what will happen in the campaign. I'll have to play the character with this class, but I gotta find a different way to play him. I'm kind of thinking, because I was just playing like a really evil character I mentioned in my last video called Balviduk, and a goblin pirate who was incredibly arrogant, incredibly evil, and just an overall arrogant asshole. And that was really fun to play. Holy shit, he was so confident, so arrogant, and when he failed, he got crushed immediately. But it was fun to just play an overly confident guy. You know, anytime there's any risk, he would take it. Like, he just loved to gamble. Since that character has now died, been killed by my own party for good reasons. I love that, by the way. Maybe I should play a similar character again. Perhaps not like that's evil. I'm like kind of playing. You know, it doesn't really make sense for them to be super evil. They could be racist, I guess, and on towards humans, and just think of them lesser. Maybe it's like an inferiority complex where he goes out into the wilderness and realizes, holy shit, the rest of humanity, like all of the world, has somehow gotten gunpowder and making weapons, and we're still in the Stone Age, throwing rocks and sticks at each other, and fire and grim, like magical power, but whatever. That could be a cool inferiority complex where he just says, bah, I hate technology, it's stupid, but in reality he's like really fucking jealous. That could be an interesting gimmick, I think, especially because there's an inventor. It might be a cool dynamic of him just not respecting science at all. I think I'm gonna go with that, yeah, because I was honestly thinking of the opposite, where I was like, he was gonna be super excited about the world, really curious kid, like looking into the world and seeing, wow, that's so cool. But maybe it'd be more interesting if I'm like super patriotic about my awful ass living situation. You know, living in the mountains, everyone dies as a like 2-year-old, and if they don't, they die as like 14-year-old, despite the kobolds having a lifespan of like 100 years or more. None of them would reach, like, pretty much almost none of them reach real adulthood. It's just kobold lore in general, and I adopted it into the lore as well. So obviously my character lives in an awful place, and with shitty technology. But it would be cool if he was like really arrogant about it anyway. So I might play him to the arrogance as well. He's not a charisma build though, and I think that's something I already wrote his character stats and all that. I might redo them, like mix some stats around, because I want him not to be very charismatic, because he is just, well, he is throughout the whole campaign I'm imagining he's going to be a foreigner or something. Like, he's a kobold, he's seen as a savage. In the books I've read in the past, people who were outsiders and like somewhat foreigners, coming from more savage places, viewed by others, generally, no matter how kind or how cool they are very charismatic, just by default to people. People just don't like them and think of them lesser, and you know, they try to explain that, you know, I'm actually pretty smart, you know, I can commune with spirits and all that, and people just laugh, ha 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 ha, spirits? That don't exist. They don't exist, fool. And they have an accent, so it's hard for them to like truly communicate. My character might have the same issue. No matter how clever he is, he probably couldn't convey it well. It's not really his fault. But I might change that, because I like playing more charisma-based characters. I like talking, I like role-playing. So why should I make my character not be good at that? That would just make me less likely to do it in the campaign. I think actually what I did make him a high intelligence character, because I wanted to do a lot of clever stuff. I like to make clever choices. I don't want to play smart, because I think that's fun. I'm not a very smart person, but when you're in combat, when like every round takes like 10 minutes because everyone has to get through their turn, I can just think up what different ways of like playing and doing stuff. I also want to really engage with the magic I have. I'm a waterbender, and there's like waterbending stuff that I've always thought about like being possible that never happened in the cartoon. So I might like just do some outrageous shit that I could think of. I guess I don't need high intelligence for that. It's also be wisdom. Honestly, my intelligence is probably really low. I don't know jack shit. I'm a goat farmer who got this power and I'm kind of naive and a kid stuff. So yeah, you know what? True. If I have any height and like, if I have any strength in like intelligence, I'll remove that and put in charisma instead. Make myself more charismatic, just from like confidence. You know, he's just really confident, and he's trying. I think he should be like someone who's vaguely charismatic, if like to his people at least. Maybe not others, but he'll like assume that he's being charismatic, and I think that's a fun shtick. I'm gonna look into what it is right now. What my stats are. What's the name again? Argon Celiacs? Yeah, that's his name. Okay, I don't want to lose here. After this fight, I have a bit of time before I fight. I think it's Elderwho. And he's not really a type, like a guy you can pause to fight him. I'm being very careful here because I don't want to lose to him. I have lost to him a few times actually, and it's never fun. Yeah, I took damage, damn it. Cool. About, what's my stats? Actually, no, I've got 0 intelligence, 0 charisma. I think maybe that should stay. I've got my biggest stat is con and dexterity. I'm a small guy, and constitution is like my main ability score for this class, which is kind of goofy, but I guess it makes sense. I'm containing a power. Like, my power comes from something deep within me that is kind of unnatural and doesn't really fit me. You know, the element power that I have, water, is supposed to be in a dragon, but kobolds can technically wield it. That's kind of the shtick. So constitution kind of makes sense for me. That I'd have to have a good constitution to contain that power. And you know, dexterity makes sense as well, because they are a little kobold adventurer. They've been traveling around the mountain, like mountain climbing, do a lot of dexterous stuff. Just a small dexterous guy. And I have 2 in strength as well, because once again he's like a mountain climber. He's very physically, he's like, he physically is powerful, strong, dexterous, and you know, it makes sense for all those stats actually. And I have 2 in wisdom, which makes sense again, because he's kind of like, he's been in nature for most of his life. You know, he should have good like perception. He's a hunter sometimes, you know, it's hunter-gatherer society. He herds goats, sure, but the culture in the, like, at least his tribe is like, you gotta hunt, bro. Hunting's awesome. Fighting in general is seen as really sick, and so that makes sense. I could move wisdom into like charisma instead, make him a bit less of that. But you know, I don't think he really should be that charismatic. He might try to be. He might like really want to be, but he's probably not. Sorry, bro. Yeah. I mean, especially if I'm not in the thing that. Also, he's like kind of a kid. He's a naive kid who expects everyone to love him because he's just gotten a lightning weapon, you know. Sure, he has confidence, but he's not. He's completely wrong. He doesn't really understand people, considering that's his like main goal. So yeah, I think the stats will stay. I don't want to change them at all. Low intelligence, low charisma, make perfect sense. High physical stats makes also sense, and then you know, a bit of wisdom as well is good. Because you know, I can be kind of the ranger in the party, only a little bit. I have a like +2 in that, so it's not like I'm actually being the. There's maybe the other characters have more. I don't know. But yeah, that's Argon Celiacs, blue kobold, from the Lightning lineage. You know, he's actually a long descendant of the Lightning King. That's why he knows a lot about him, and like really dreams of becoming one. His grandpa was a big supporter in that dream of finding the Lightning King, and you know, he told my character Argon Celiacs a bunch of stories. So my character knows more than average about like the dragon folk's history. But in terms of actual, like, other than that history, he's completely off this game. Like, and most of it is just folk tales and like probably also just lies from his grandpa to make their family line seem more interesting. Could be that he's not actually part of the lineage at all. He just looks like him, like the Dragon King, at least how he's depicted. Could very well be that he's just not even lineage, but just been believing that lie. That could be kind of funny. Don't know, up to the DM. So yeah, that's the down that. I like to think about technology being really arrogant about Dragonborn culture, Kobold culture, and just believing that to be the sickest shit. I think he's gonna have like a warrior personality. He's like, what? Are you a fucking tinkerer or are you a woman? Haha, be a little sexist and like generally just stupid. I think that's a fun trope that I can work with. I like having characters just wrong about stuff. One of my favorite tropes in fiction is when the character is just making educated guesses and they're just wrong. Sorry, bro. You guessed wrong. Like, if a character sees other character, like, buy a sword and the next day someone dies from a sword wound, he's like, wait a minute, I saw this. Holy shit. He's the one who killed him. But, you know, actually, no. Completely unrelated. He's got other stuff he's doing, but you know, it makes sense for the character's POV. You know, I want characters to do what they would do in this situation, and you know, smart characters should make smart decisions, but I still want them to be wrong sometimes and just assume something based on what they know. But sadly, no, sorry, that was just wrong. Sometimes that just happens to everyone. That's one of my favorite things in Warbreaker. Holy shit, that's a good book. My friend's reading right now, The Watcher, and he is, oh, I shouldn't say friend, he's kind of a pet. And, you know, he's talking about how it's a bit annoying right now. It's a lot of setup, and he's like halfway through the book and it's still set up. And I gotta say, yeah, true, honestly. I think 60% of the book is setup, and then there's like 40% peak, because that's just how I like books as well. I want the first part to be kind of boring, just set up and give me the knowledge that I like set the norm for the world and blah 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 blah. And then when the second part kind of like subverts this norm, is so much more satisfying because I know what it's supposed to be like. So everything that happens is interesting. I don't give a shit about a fight scene unless I know the characters and know the stakes. If I don't see a way that the fight will lose, if I don't see more than one outcome, or even two sometimes, then I don't care. That's actually an issue I have with the Stumble that I have right now. There's been a few fight scenes and like they've just been the most boring shit imaginable. Like, I have no stakes in them. The first fight scene was about like a guy called Seth who was wielding like a gravity power. He had magic, allowed him to do gravity, but the first thing he said about the magic is that no one has seen this power in millennia. So already I can assume that other characters won't have this power, at least for a good while, and this power isn't actually something that's part of the world. It is just him who has it. Like, you know, I like when magic systems are integrated into the world and I can see visible, like, changes, like, differences between our world and the magic world, because, you know, obviously there's going to be change if there's magic. Like, just look at how different our world is because of the, like, discovery of gunpowder. What if we had something like magic like that? Some people can change gravity. Who the fuck needs an elevator? We just have a like gravity guy. You know, transport would change, blah 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 blah. But there's none of that because he's the only person who has this power in the world and blah blah blah. So it's really not that interesting. Which is different with Warbreaker, where everyone has the magic, and you just have to give it to people. I don't know, it's just sick. That magic system works really well in that world, and there's a lot of stuff that's not even explored. I think there's more stuff that could happen. I like wondering, why didn't they do this? Why? Oh, well, that's good. This could be sick. Holy shit! Oh, you could do this with the power. Whoa, whoa, whoa! And sometimes they actually hinted at some of the ideas I had, like, why haven't they done this at all? And the character hints at, apparently people have done so in the past, and it's just been an art that's lost to time because of religious, like, reasons and stuff, and censorship. So that's pretty sick. I love that kind of stuff. So far, Storm Archive hasn't been the same at all. The closest thing to everyone have magic, like magic having an impact on the world, has been soul casters, which are some like magic gauntlets that like basically wands, I suppose, where people can use magic with that. And they apparently have like the magic of allowing you to change matter. They like have been given very few hints about what it actually can do, but I'm really excited. I want to learn more about this. I'm really excited. One of my favorite POVs, Shalon. Her goal is to find and steal a soulcaster for her family, and I am so excited for that goal. I want her to succeed so bad. Please succeed just right now so I can see a soulcaster up close. I want her to figure out how it works. I want to have her like use it in different ways. I want to understand it so I can see the world and like, oh shit, that's why this is like that, blah blah blah. That's what I want. But now I don't get any more Shalon chapters. They've cut her out from this part of the book, and it fucking sucks. Instead I got this boring ass prince called Adolin with wielding a shard blade and shard plate. Bro, I don't give a shit. It's just sword and armor. Ooh, big sword, make strong cut, can cut anything and make soul disappear. I don't care, that's not cool. That's just a better sword. There's like nothing interesting about that. And then plate armor is like, oh, but you get physical strength while you're wielding it. You can make inhuman in reaction speed and make incredible endurance and strong like leaps and shit. I've seen this before, bro. Yeah, like it's just an armor that makes you stronger. Not interesting. And you know, they keep showing it as if in the same way that they show soulcasters actually, except soulcasters are given. Even actually no, that's wrong. That's completely wrong. There's been a lot more. There's been put a lot more attention on shard plate, and shard blades. They've just been really explained pretty well, and not at all soulcasters, which I suck because shard blades really haven't shaped the world much. I mean, it's a sword that is powerful, very powerful. Like one shard bearer will like be stronger than anyone else, I guess. And I guess you could like, they're really expensive. You can fight wars over this thing. But really it isn't that interesting thematically. It's just a MacGuffin to wage war on. Like I mean yeah, it makes sense that people are fighting wars over just one shard blade. In the same way that people wage war on just one like mining outpost in some like thing. Like, it doesn't matter for most people, but a kingdom could greatly prosper because of it, blah 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 blah. Boring. Adolin is a boring dude. I just want to learn more about Kaladin and Shalon. I don't care about the king's like struggles with. It's like, oh, I want to live up to my great brother who died 5 years ago, and oh no, my uncle is seeing weird visions about uniting everyone against a common enemy. There's already been a lot of like foreboding things, like, oh, look, the world is ending soon. Oh, and now this guy's seeing visions. You gotta unite everyone. You gotta unite people so that, like, don't fight amongst each other. We gotta fight against the common evil. And I'm assuming the common evil is like the Void Breakers or like Void Bringers, whatever it is. That's been mentioned earlier. Who were never defeated, blah 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 blah. I don't know. This is like stuff that would maybe make me more interested if I haven't already read like 200 pages of the book and none of the stuff that's been hinting at has happened yet. Like, oh look, the end is near, and like, okay, that's exciting, yo. I want to see this. Hell yeah. 200 pages later, a dude's like, oh, the end is near. The end is near. Unite everyone against the common enemy. The end is near. I'm like, okay, yeah, we know. I know this. This is nothing. Like, it's just a dude who I guess will try to prepare the world for the end. I guess that's cool. But it's just so slow. Honestly, I got like 40 chapters of this like new character that's been showcased. I guess there's 2 different new characters who are basically the same shtick. Like they're based from an ability in the same situation. They kind of are in the same chapters and like shift POVs a lot. And they're just like, a lot of them, they're just wrong again. Once again, it's like characters who are wrong, which I mentioned before is cool. They have they really want to kill the Prescendi, blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know. It's just so obvious that they'll somehow figure out that, oh shit, this is what we have to do, not this. oh god, we gotta stop the war or something. If I'm wrong here, that's sick. I love being wrong about predictions, but right now it just feels so obvious that these characters are headed in a direction where they will be like maybe humble is not the right word, where they have to like struggle against the system they're in, try to like, they'll be called cowards or something for stuff. I don't know, it's just their lore is not exciting because I feel like I understand one path that will happen. Fuck, I really just fell down there. I have one like assumption of what's gonna happen. No more. It's not like multiple branches. Oh, maybe this could happen. Maybe this could happen. And that's just because I don't know them yet. I don't care to think about it as much because I don't see many paths they could take. It just seems a very like stagnant group, I guess. They're characters who don't really have any really, how did I hit him into me like that? That's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit schizo, I think. With this part of like what I'm talking about right now. Essentially because it's like the first 2 chapters I've read with them. I can't really judge them based on that alone, I feel like. Oh, I didn't see that again. But my problem with it is they show up in part 2. I'm feeling like finally I should start getting into the book, you know. Right now, it's all been set up, but 2 of the characters have finally gotten into their interesting spot in the, like, the lore. You know, stuff's happening. Kaladin has gotten motivation back. He's determined to do stuff. I want to see what happens. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him fail. I don't care. I just want to see what happens. What does he plan to do? You know, how is he going to change stuff? Like, whoa. He's in a horrible situation right now with a bunch of other people who's in a horrible situation. He's trying to make the situation better. How? I don't know. I'm not kind of thinking, could he like escape with them? Could he like make an uprising somehow? Well, what's he gonna do? I'm excited. I want to know what happens. And Shalon has finally become a ward for this dude, for this lady. You know, she's not actually planning on being a ward. She's just planning on stealing the Soulcaster. So you know, for all I know, the first like chapter with her could just be her stealing it and running away. It's not what happens, and I know that's not happening because she's not part of the book right now. I guess she's just gonna be a ward for a while. Even then, I'm excited. I want to like she'll get some interesting lore. Like she'll learn history books and shit. I want to learn about the histories in the world. Hell yeah! Just speedrun the setup. Just tell me all the setup. Give me all the lore that I need to know, and then get me into like the fucking book. I don't want to go through Adolin chapters anymore. He's so boring. He's not interesting character at all. He's like, oh, I like woman, I like war, and I'm like, okay. I love my dad. I wish he wasn't such a. Everyone didn't think he was such a coward. Okay, I don't care. Give me a guy who's like doing shit, actually has goals and motivations. I don't know. That's what I feel about this. In the book, I've reached a point where I have to go through 28 pages of slop content, which is what Adolin chapters are. It'll be so fucking dreadful and watch that. I mean, I just don't care. And then I can go back maybe to a Kaladin chapter where shit's actually happening, lots of exciting stuff. But you know, I have to go through 28 fucking pages of it, of Adolin first. And I just don't wanna. He's so boring. And it's kind of weird because usually I like political stuff in like my fantasy. I usually love the like political POVs and showing in like the world and different political parties, how people are acting in like high places, what the nobility doing. Oh wait, I had soul. Would have been nice. Oh, it is nice. Hell yeah. But right now, I don't know. I guess it's because I like when politics actually like matter. Right now, the 2 characters I am reading about, like, I don't know what their shtick's about. They just seem to be normal ass dudes in this war. Maybe one of them wants to unite everyone. You know, here's a goal I can kind of get behind, I guess. But he's not actually taking any steps to really do it yet. He's still in the phase of, should I actually unite everyone? Maybe I'm just delusional. And I'm like, at some point he's gonna figure out, okay, I'll do it, and he work towards that goal, and then it'll probably be exciting. Right now, he is just passive. He's just not really doing anything. And then it was like a big fight scene against a huge monster where no one died, so really it wasn't that intimidating anyway. Kind of hoping that this next chapter will explore like the king got a genuine injury that he can't fight in Shardplate anymore. You know, maybe he's become a cripple, which will kind of like destabilize the realm a bit more. That could be exciting. Maybe one of the characters, you know, Adolin, he was a character who loved dueling and woman. Maybe he is seriously injured. Maybe he like completely screws up his legs or something and he gets like an ugly scar across his face. Maybe then he'll lose his confidence. You know, he can't do the two things you love, which is fucking women and killing men. You know, like Jaime Lannister type shit where he loses everything he's good at. Like his whole identity is challenged because he just lost the only thing he knew how to do. That could be sick. Probably not gonna happen. I don't think he really got damaged much. He got hit, sure, but he didn't really get damaged much. Dolan's father could get like crippled. He's like, his whole shtick is that in the past he was this fierce and admired warrior. Now he's just become kind of. Now people are kind of ignoring him. They don't see him as really good, confident anymore. Despite him probably still being pretty confident. Could be that he gets like crippled somehow because he did really something stupid. Like he did something really brave and courageous and like, wow, look at me, it was an epic fight scene and all that. Wow, and I don't know any of the characters, so I don't really care. Maybe he gets crippled here, and that kind of once again puts a strain on his reputation, which could be cool. Maybe I could hope. You know, I can go wonder about where the story is going with this stuff, which I love doing. But it's just none of the options really. I mean, I don't know. I love wondering what's gonna happen, but I love being because usually I can predict stuff and it's fun when a good show is like giving me a lot of clues. I can really get into the nitty-gritty details of things, really nitpick why is this happening, why is that happening, until I come up with like good reasons why things are happening. I could be like, oh, holy shit, that's sick. Or maybe later in the book something will be revealed and I can look back at the details I was like complaining about and be like, oh, that makes so much sense, blah 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 blah. What's even better is that I'm just completely wrong. You know, I have a prediction going, everything's kind of lining up in this way, and then in the end I'm completely, entirely fucking wrong because something much more interesting is happening. I love that shit. And I just... Right now, I am struggling to find anything interesting about Adolin's arc. So, I will definitely be wrong. Because surely it's going to get interesting. Please give me interesting stuff. There's some stuff I can think about, like, okay, maybe he gets crippled, you know, maybe he gets severely crippled and everyone, like, he loses everything he loves and stuff like that. That could be interesting stuff. But if that doesn't happen and he's just completely fine, that's just disappointing. Then the opposite happened. I was wrong, but it was just less interesting. Oh, I got hit there? What? Like here, in the fight scene here. With the big epic fight scene, they're on a hunt. Suddenly get ambushed by the biggest creature they've ever seen. It's really dangerous. They've talked in length about how they needed to like play this game carefully. They were doing proper hunting strategies. Characters said it was boring because they weren't really fighting the creature. They were just hunting it in a calculated way. But it ends up ambushing them instead, and everything's going to chaos. Holy shit, the king is in danger. Wow, what's going on? And I was thinking, okay, this guy could be exciting. I'm starting to really get hooked here. Maybe the king fucking dies or something. Maybe one of the characters dies here, and that could be the cornerstone of their arc, you know? There's like trouble or somehow. But I was wrong. They just won the fight. And you know, now I can hope, please tell me at least got like injured somehow. Otherwise, it was just a filler fight, you know, like a random action scene to keep me engaged. But if they do that too much, I will stop being engaged in fight scenes because nothing happens in them. So, you know, yeah, I guess I'm just kind of dreading reading the chapter because I'm worried that I'll be wrong. No, actually, I'm worried that I'll be correct and they don't get crippled. None of them actually died and blah blah blah. It's just gonna be back to the status quo. Nothing really interesting happened. That's what I'm actually thinking will happen. I'm hoping maybe one of them is crippled, but I'll likely be disappointed. I think that's why I'm uninterested in Ellen right now. There's nothing for me to really. I have no positive expectations. I think it's gonna be really boring. Because so far it has been in the last 2 chapters, which is, I guess, is unfair. Dolan, and then Kaladin. He's sick. He's starting to make moves. He's gonna be doing some interesting fucking stuff right now, and I can think, oh, if he does this, and I'm wrong, he actually does this instead. Holy shit, that's even better. Blah blah blah. He's actually doing interesting stuff. I don't want to read a book about a random prince who doesn't do anything. He's just wishing. I wish people were more forgiving towards my father and all his like shortcomings and his delusions. Like, okay. I mean, yeah, that's a good like groundwork for a character. You know, you can do something though. Like you need to have a motivation as well. But he doesn't. He's just boring. I'm being way too harsh. I think its main issue is that I really want to read more about Kaladin and Shallan too. And then every time I'm reading Adolin instead, it's like I'm being stolen Kaladin away from me. Like I'm watching this fucking asshole instead of Kaladin. What the fuck? Why? I don't give a shit. It's like, sure, he's uninteresting and not that interesting. Like, he's just uninteresting. But even worse than that, he's replacing something that is much more interesting, and that is like, that's annoying. He's stealing screen time. Oh god, I'm battled no eyes. Man, that sucks. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah, I'm not good at this fight. It's just annoying. I don't want to practice it either, because I don't think I'll really improve anything. It's just a fight that you gotta get lucky where they're in an easy spot to hit, and don't teleport away much, and you can just hit them. I'm bad at like looking at all the chaos. It's generally my worst fights, like Markoth, the Collector, and stuff like that, because they're just a bunch of chaos, or blobbles and stuff. Sometimes they're pretty easy fights, but you can also just be wrong, and it sucks. Oh yeah. Sad video.